Over the last 6 years, Greater Kuala Lumpur has undergone a massive transformation. A new MRT line has been built, covering a distance of 51 kilometers with 31 stations. The obstacles have been numerous, but Malaysian engineers have risen to the challenge to complete this mega infrastructure project.
Very, very few countries can implement a gargantuan project like this, and being able to implement it slightly ahead of time and also slightly below budget.
MRT Malaysia, transforming Greater Kuala Lumpur into a connected, modern metropolis. August 1957, Malaya gained its independence from Great Britain. 60 years ago, Kuala Lumpur was a small colonial township with civic buildings built by the British administration. Shophouses lined the main streets, and the tallest structure at the time was merely 9 stories tall. Today, Greater Kuala Lumpur is vast, more than 10 times larger than it was 60 years ago. The city is now a modern metropolis with an ever-rising skyline.
Well, if you look back over the last 60 years, the progress we've made is nothing short of, I would say, remarkable. Kuala Lumpur has changed by leaps and bounds.
Today, Greater Kuala Lumpur has a population of over 8 million, an increase of over 2,500% from 60 years ago. But the city is often blighted by chronic gridlock that threatens its future growth. In 1957, there were only 125,000 cars in the whole of the peninsula. But today, more than 4 million cars enter the city centre daily. But there is a solution to the traffic woes. A new transportation network, the Klang Valley Mass Rapid Transit, or KVMRT.
When I took over office in 2009, I realized that without an efficient, modern, reliable, seamless connectivity in terms of public transportation, you cannot call Kuala Lumpur a world-class city. And that is why, as a government, we have given public transportation a key priority as part of our transformation program.
The Klang Valley Mass Rapid Transit System, the KVMRT, is Kuala Lumpur's bid for greatness. 3 different routes comprising more than 140 kilometers of brand new lines.
I'm confident that this is going to be a landmark, iconic game changer in terms of the livability of Kuala Lumpur as a whole. Because that project by itself will create the integrated, seamless connectivity and provide people living in Kuala Lumpur an opportunity to move one place to another with a great deal of ease. It will certainly reduce traffic congestion, reduce carbon emission, and make Kuala Lumpur a much more livable and vibrant city.
In July 2011, Datuk Sri Mohammad Najib Tun Razak launched the biggest infrastructure project in Malaysia. The first line runs from Sungai Buloh to Kajang and stretches 51 kilometers with 31 new stations. To execute the government's mandate to complete the KVMRT project, MRT Corporation was formed. Datuk Sri Shahril Mokhtar currently helms the position of the Chief Executive Officer.
Basically, MRT Corp, owned by Minister of Finance Incorporated. So our role is basically as an asset owner, as a project developer. And we are so-called a liaison entity between the project partner, or in short PDP, and also the government.
The PDP basically will be responsible for managing all aspects of the project. That means the design aspect, the procurement aspect, and also the implementation or the construction aspect of it.
The PDP will enable the MRT project to be rolled out efficiently in phases, ensuring delivery obligations and performance of all contractors.
First of all, you want a company or consortium that can deliver the project. Secondly, you want a project to deliver it on time and on budget. And thirdly, you want the risk taken off the government.
To ensure the success of this project, a strict procurement process was put in place, with only the best contractors awarded the jobs through competitive bids. The government set a target for 50% of the value of all contracts for the MRT Sungai Buloh Kajang line to be awarded to Bumiputra companies, and they have exceeded the initial target.
The Bumiputra agenda will be an integral part of the KV MRT project. So we carve out a certain percentage of the contracts and give it out to Bumiputra, but it must be on the basis of competition. And the Bumiputra contractors that will be awarded will be on the basis of being the best amongst Bumiputra.
The project has also provided opportunities for small medium enterprises or SMEs.
We want this project to benefit SMEs so that the benefit will cascade to involve smaller firms. And as part of this project, 480 SMEs have benefited. They represent about 65% of the contract value.
Kami diberi peluang untuk bersama menjadi sebahagian daripada kontraktor Bumiputra itu sendiri, industri kecil dan sederhana, untuk menjayakan kebersamaan dalam projek ini, dan saya rasa itu satu penghargaan buat kami.
A special MRT Exco committee was also set up to ensure that the project moves swiftly and smoothly.
The idea of having this MRT Exco is just to solve issues. That is a very good platform in order to expedite the project.
But constructing a new transport system in the Klang Valley was not an easy task.
The city was not planned enough to accommodate the high growth in population and the high growth in development. That's why we have all this problem with finding a corridor to accommodate this kind of large-scale mass transportation system. We have had to share reserves. We have had to put this alignment where there are public roads or public highways. So it was quite a challenge to achieve that.
Majority of the line was constructed above ground along existing road reserves to minimize the cost of construction. Within the congested city center, the MRT goes underground.
Areas where we could go above ground, we went above ground. Areas where we needed to go underground, we went underground. Of course, when you go underground, the cost is higher. But in terms of the aesthetics, it's definitely better. We didn't want to destroy any of the heritage buildings that we have. That was one of the policy decisions that we made, was to minimum changes to the existing physical landscape.
At the underground section of the line, landmark mutual agreements were drawn up between MRT Corporation and individual landowners, something that has never been achieved before.
We're talking about people's private property that they've acquired through the generation from their father or grandfather, and there's a lot of emotion attached to owning this sort of property. So we try to not acquire them. Our team managed to craft out, and then you have mutual agreement for each lot that you actually want to work with. End of the day, what happens is you can coexist, and these property owners don't lose their land. And this is the beauty of it. We are allowed to build our tunnel underground with the property owners still enjoying their property.
To ensure that all parties were well informed of the construction activities, Whether it is the community or businesses adjacent to the MRT alignment, stakeholder engagements were carried out.
Can you imagine 51 kilometers, how many residential areas that we're passing through? Can you imagine if we do not engage, we do not speak to the residents? I always believe that people management, people engagement, stakeholder engagement is crucial. If we don't manage them well, they don't understand the project, they don't understand where we are heading to, it won't happen.
For Line 1, over 2,000 engagement sessions were held with residents, residential associations, business people, traders, and other groups.
This is my home. I've lived here for 45 years, and then you have MRT coming in. Like any project, there's bound to be traffic, there's bound to be noise. There were a bit of cracks, a bit of movement on the ground to affect the whole area, and there were individual meetings that were held by MRT's representation, and my concerns were met, and I'd like to thank them for that. Yeah.
Kami tidak diabaikan lah. Memang pihak MMC Gamuda memang menjaga kami dengan baik.
Setiap kali kami dapat masalah, kami membuat aduan dengan mereka. Mereka memang dapat mempentra semua masalah yang datang dengan secepat mungkin.
To construct a new transportation line through the Klang Valley was no easy task. For construction purposes, the line was divided into 3 sections. The northern elevated section from Sungai Buloh to Semantan, the underground section from Semantan to Maluri, and the southern elevated section from Maluri to Kajang. To ensure that the construction of the KV MRT created minimal disturbance, an extensive traffic management plan was put in place.
Before we start any construction, we would have to plan the traffic management meticulously. Then we do simulation and the trial closure. Once the trial is successful, then we go for full implementation.
The elevated section consisted of 1,400 piers to support 17,000 segmental box girders that formed the viaducts. 400-ton launching gantries were used to build permanent viaduct guideways by erecting the segmental box girders, or SBGs.
The gantry is, in a sense, sitting between 2 piers, basically a sort of a crane lifting mechanism. It lifts all the units together. It aligns them so they're all in a nice line. And at our peak, we had 21 gantries. That's a lot of gantries.
After completion of the viaducts, the elevated station's structure were constructed. There are 24 elevated stations, 12 in the northern section and 12 in the southern section. The design and concept of the elevated stations are inspired from the Malay Wakaf, a traditional shelter for travelers.
The idea of the station was, we call it Wakaf. Wakaf being a sort of pavilion structure that you find usually in the landscape, synonymous with paddy fields and things like this. But the idea of Wakaf is also that the transportation is a sort of a gift to the people. It's something for the people.
In keeping with the Malaysian identity, the station design is in tune with the country's environment.
It should become a tropical station. It's big overhang roofs, natural daylight, naturally ventilated, public plaza. These were all a series of ideas under the umbrella of the concept of a waka.
To accommodate the construction within the city centre, 9.5 kilometres of the alignment is underground. The design and construction of the underground works was awarded to MMC Gamuda KV MRT Tunnelling Sendirian Berhad for their extensive tunnelling experience and technological know-how, including their construction of the Smart Tunnel. But constructing tunnels in Kuala Lumpur's treacherous karstic underground conditions was challenging. During the building of the Smart Tunnel between 2004 and 2007, the team faced major collapses and sinkholes. Armed with the knowledge, MMC Gamuda KV MRT were able to design a new tunnel boring machine, the variable density TBM, to overcome these problems. The TBMs were used to excavate rock and soil with special tools fixed on a rotating cutter head. Bentonite slurry is pumped to the front of the machine to maintain the face pressure. The new machine can vary the density of the slurry, changing the consistency from a thin watery liquid to a thicker-like substance. The thicker-like slurry is used to fill hidden cavities, and its density prevents it from escaping through the porous rock to the surface, minimizing road collapses. 8 TBMs were used to construct the underground tunnel, and it was launched from 4 different launching sites. The first TBM was launched by the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Dato Sri Mohamed Najib Tun Razak, on 30th May 2013.
It's actually a technological marvel. I was so impressed. I was in awe of that machine when I first saw it. It looks like a Star Trek movie, you know. And this is something that we can be really proud of.
The TBM is equipped to both excavate and build tunnel rings, which form the lining of the tunnel. Each ring consists of 7 segments and 1 keystone. A total of 11,500 segments were needed to line the dual 7.8-kilometer tunnels. The tunnel walls were constructed to be strong enough to stand extreme pressure and chemical attacks from the groundwater and be able to endure settlement from poor ground conditions. The MRT tunneling project required thousands of workers over the 2-year period of construction, and MMC Gamuda set up the Tunneling Training Academy, or TTA, to train the hundreds of local workers needed for the underground construction works. The Academy is Malaysia's first training school designed to specially produce skilled manpower for the tunneling industry, and is in line with the government's aspiration to transform Malaysia into a high-income nation by 2020.
People tend to look at a mega project in terms of the capital investment. But a mega project like this actually opens up wonderful opportunities for young people from the kampong to not only get jobs, but to be trained in a high technology field.
Masa depan kerja dalam tunnel ini agak cerah lah sebab ni baru first project MRT. Mungkin lepas ni ada lagi.
Young Malaysian engineers have risen to the challenge to work on one of the most complex infrastructure projects in the country.
I'm now handling one of the machine and running the full operation of the tunnel. I am lucky because I have good mentors teaching me how to actually control the machine, how to actually manage the people. It's quite challenging, but I think I like it because there's not many chances that you can be in a tunneling construction industry.
With that kind of work experience, they can find employment anywhere in the world. And this is what excites me actually. Young people, they have an opportunity to work in this project. And we can be very proud of the fact that it is actually being delivered by Malaysians and by a Malaysian consortium.
Women have also played an important role in the project, taking on positions often dominated by men.
I think tunneling jobs is like one of the more specialist work that we have in the civil engineering industry. So this is definitely a golden opportunity.
In my team, everyone is the same. I mean, if you're male or you're female, then it's the same. If they're working inside the tunnel, inside the machines, then I'm also working inside the tunnels and also the machines. So basically, it's fair and square.
We've always wanted more women to be part of the labour force, more women in the boardrooms, more women in top management, and more women in the technical field. So this project, when we see that it has succeeded in opening the door for more women to participate as engineers, I think that's a wonderful thing, and we want to congratulate Malaysian women.
The KV MRT project has raised the delivery and safety benchmark for the local construction industry to be on par with international standards. Safety audits and checks by safety officers were done regularly to ensure that the works carried out adhered to all safety requirements. Emergency drills were carried out regularly at the sites. As the construction of the underground section holds a higher risk, extra precautions were taken by the construction team, including firefighting. These safety efforts have been adopted by the Fire and Rescue Department and the Construction Industry Development Board, or CIDB.
There has been a big improvement in safety. Now there is an awareness about the responsibilities we have to our workforce and to the people working on the job and the members of the public, and we do the work safely and we don't take risks.
Safety! Safety!
A total of 11 breakthroughs took place throughout the 2-year period of the tunneling works. The last tunnel boring machine finally broke through on 11th April 2015, signaling the completion of the tunneling works. It was a thrilling moment for the team.
We are improving ourselves. You can see 10 TPM already been successfully implemented and completed and without any problem to the surrounding. So you can see it's proven already. So I think we are very happy now and we are very confident that we can do more for the next coming future.
Sebagai anak tempatan, saya banggalah.
The success of the variable density TBM resulted in a 95% reduction in the incidence of sinkholes for the KV MRT Sungai Buloh Kajang line compared to the tunneling for the Smart Tunnel under the same geological conditions. The astounding innovation of the variable density TBM was internationally recognized and was awarded the International Tunneling and Underground Space Awards 2014 for the Technical Innovation of the Year category.
It certainly is a great achievement, and in terms of Malaysia, it will enhance our profile internationally. And the very fact that we can win the international accolades is a wonderful achievement for all Malaysians.
After completion of the tunneling works, laying of the tracks for the underground and the elevated sections were done concurrently. The tracks were specially designed to reduce noise and vibration from the trains. The operation of the train will be powered up with electricity, hence the installation of power rails. A walkway was also built throughout the alignment. It allows the passengers to evacuate in case of an emergency. Additional sound protection was also introduced to the elevated tracks.
There were certain areas that was very close to residential areas. And what we did was we have installed 3 different categories of noise barriers on the MRT alignment.
At the elevated stations, final works were being carried out at station entrances. Each station has a minimum of 2 entrances. Some were built across major roads or highways. Besides staircases, entrances would have escalators or lifts, making most of them disabled-friendly. At the platform area, automated platform gates were installed to separate the track and platform areas. This is a safety feature, and the doors will only open when a train stops in the station and when its doors are completely aligned with the automatic platform gates. Automatic fare collection gates were installed together with ticket vending machines, ensuring a modern cashless touch-on system. "58 trains make up the fleet for the new Sungai Buloh Kajang line. The trains were designed by BMW Group Design Works USA with the theme Guiding Light, representing strong and solid character, as well as modernity and timelessness. Components of the train came from all around the world, but were also produced locally, such as the chairs and the LED lights. All the components were assembled at Malaysia's very first train assembly plant located at Rasa, Hulu Selangor.
For a full set of production in Rasa, it takes around 45 days for a train set. This is the first full-fledged assembly plant in Malaysia. Every single thing, the interiors, the exteriors, every single component here is fitted in Malaysia.
After all the components were installed, the trains went through a series of tests to ensure that everything was in place and installed precisely. The completed trains were transported to the Sungai Buloh Depot, the biggest train depot in Southeast Asia.
This depot can house 60 trains of Line 1 and more than 40 trains for Line 2. It has all the equipment that can support the overhaul and heavy maintenance in addition to the light maintenance of the train for Line 1 and Line 2.
The trains are of the latest technology. Its state-of-the-art integrated train automation system will ensure a reliable and highly efficient operation.
We use a driverless system, so all the trains can be operated automatically by themselves. So it's one of the longest fully automatic MRT system in the world.
The trains are also equipped with enhanced safety features, with surveillance cameras installed on the outside and inside of the trains.
We have 42 cameras per train, so we make sure that the passengers on board are safe and they will feel the security of it and they will feel comfortable to travel on the train.
In November 2015, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Mohammad Najib Tun Razak visited the Sungai Buloh Depot to check on the progress of the MRT project.
I oversee this project overall, and I'm briefed on a regular basis, and I go down and look at the progress myself, and I intervene if there are problems. So everybody is committed, the entire government, to making this project a success.
The operation of the train is fully controlled from the Operation Control Center, or OCC, located at the Sungai Buloh Depot.
The Operation Control Center is actually the brain for the entire fully automatic railway. So it houses the computers and also the workstations controlling the trains and also the different systems of the railway. It allows the operator here to regulate the service so as to meet the demand of the passengers. Say, for example, during the morning peak hours, in case of a heavy rain that people don't want to drive because of traffic jam, there are more passengers using the train, then the controllers here will be able to adjust the service, pumping more trains into the service onto the main line to serve the additional passengers coming into the system. So it's the regulation of the service, which is one important function of the control center.
The advanced train control system allows efficient and reliable management of this complex urban rail operations. By using wireless data communication between the trains, track equipment, and central traffic control, the system is able to be fully automated.
The trains, when they come back to the depot, actually they could be automatically routed through the automatic wash plant to clean the car body and then routed into their designated position to go into sleep. The train have a sleep mode, to get overnight. And then in the morning, a certain period of time before the timetable launch time, the trains will be waken up and then have the air conditioning units cooling down the interior of the train. And then the train will be automatically launched into service according to the timetable, one after the other. So all these are fully automatic.
Before the actual trains began its operation, it was crucial to test the capability of the OCC to ensure that the system will run smoothly.
We have entered the trial operation period, And these controllers are from Rapid Rail. They have undergone several months of training, not just a system, but also the safety and operation rules and procedures to operate this railway.
Trial operations ran for 3 months prior to the opening to the public.
Now we are in the process of increasing progressively the level of service, putting more trains onto the main line to let the trains and the system to run in, to flush out any early bugs or failures, so that by the time when we open the railway, hopefully we would have a very reliable and safe system.
After thorough testing and commissioning of the trains, Phase 1 of the SBK line from Sungai Buloh to Semantan was ready to be opened to the public. On 15th December 2016, Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak launched the first Klang Valley MRT line.
Apa yang kita anggap sebagai satu impian kini menjadi realiti. Hari ini bukan saja hari yang teristimewa bagi kita, tetapi lebih daripada itu, di mana bagi rakyat Malaysia, kerana mereka akan dapat menikmati perkhidmatan pengangkutan awam antara yang paling moden di dunia.
A total of 24 train sets, each capable of carrying 1,200 passengers, were put into service, covering 21 kilometers and 12 elevated stations. In order to encourage the public to take the MRT, additional facilities, such as the multi-story park and ride, were built. A total of 14 stations provide the park and ride facility. To further support the MRT operation, feeder bus services are provided for the MRT users. A total of 300 buses have been deployed to serve the communities along the route. The opening of Phase 1 marked a major milestone of the project, but the work was not over.
More excitement now because now we're going into the underground section, getting ready for the Phase 2 opening, and the excitement is there. It's brewing.
The MRT team had 7 months to complete the rest of the MRT line from Semantan to Kajang. Phase 1 of the Sungai Buloh Kajang line is in operation and has been well received by the Malaysian public.
You know, the reaction has been wonderful, very, very, very positive. And this has given us a great deal of encouragement that we are on the right track and that the future looks very, very encouraging indeed.
But more is being done by the government to increase connectivity within the Klang Valley. The second MRT line, the Sungai Buloh Serdang Putrajaya line, was launched by the Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak, on 15th September 2016.
I think it's important that there is the integrated and seamless connectivity. We cannot achieve that with just one line. We need multiple lines. By 2020, we hope to achieve 40% utilization of public transport, and to get to 40% means that we're on par with some of the developed cities in the world.
The second MRT line is 52.2 kilometers in length and will have 37 stations serving a corridor with a population of 2 million people. Work has commenced with an expected date of completion by July 2022. At the TBM refurbishment plant located in Pusing Perak, the tunnel boring machines used in Line 1 were cleaned and their components serviced in preparation for the second line. The facility, the first in Malaysia, enabled the transfer of TBM refurbishment technology to Malaysians. The rush is on to complete Phase 2. The underground stations have been through tremendous change.
The civil works for these stations have been extremely exciting, and they've been very unique around the world. This particular station site was in limestone rock, And it was the largest station, and it was one of the biggest excavated holes in the city. From then on, we worked very hard to build these structural works within the station, and some enormous amount of steel and concrete has gone in, all managed very well and done within record time. Finally, when you actually have the primary structure ready, then comes all the fittings, mechanical, electrical, and the architectural, and all the systems. Everything has to be tested. Your doors have to be tested. Your PA system, firefighting, the wet side, all the water, the sprinklers, everything has to be tested one by one. So there is no system that is not tested.
With just several months to go for the Line 1 completion, the final phase of construction moved full steam ahead to ensure the targeted opening date was achieved. The underground stations are inspired by the multifaceted quartz formation of Kuala Lumpur's Klang Gates Quartz Ridge.
We took inspiration from it, and in that the multifaceted shape of the quartz crystal and its multicolored reflections sort of resonate with the multiracial spirit and the cultural richness of Malaysia.
Each underground station has individual design themes that reflect each station's unique site and historical context. The Museum Negara station celebrates the history of transportation, and its theme of transition contrasts the treasure trove of all things old to the neighboring new development. Located near Stadium Merdeka, the theme for the Merdeka station is independence. Here, patriotic images are featured to represent that special moment in history. The Bukit Bintang station is located at the Golden Triangle of Kuala Lumpur, a place that never sleeps. The theme of the station is dynamic. The Tun Razak Exchange Station is located at Kuala Lumpur's future financial district. As Malaysia is at the forefront of Islamic finance, the theme of this station is Islamic Corporate. Both Cochrane and Maluri stations are located in parts of Kuala Lumpur, which are currently being transformed by two large urban regeneration projects. It is envisaged that both stations will play a major role in injecting vibrancy to the site context. At the underground stations, uniquely designed benches by local students have also been incorporated. The design of these benches was selected through a bench designing competition, with the final design voted by the public.
I punya design dekat Korporat Station, my design dia menang untuk tempat pertama, so that saya bersyukur sangat kepada Allah, family, kawan-kawan siapa yang pernah tolong saya dalam menjayakan saya punya projek ni.
On May 2017, all the stations were handed over from the contractors to Rapid Rail Sendirian Berhad, who have been appointed by the Malaysian government to operate and maintain the first mass rapid transit line in the country.
We've got a railway, 20 kilometres, which is open to the public, and then we have another 30 kilometres, which is not open to the public. And we have to stitch the two railways together. And we have to make sure at the end of the day that it runs as one railway.
At the Operation Control Centre, the Rapid Rail team were preparing for the opening of Phase 2 that will take the trains all the way from Sungai Buloh to Kajang.
Kita akan buat sistem test kita tengok macam mana kecekapan kita punya sistem bekerja, macam mana kita punya train, performance, macam mana kita punya pertambahan daripada bilangan customer. Setakat ni semua train boleh bergerak dengan agak smooth. Tak adalah nampak bermasalah. InsyaAllah semua akan berjalan lancar.
An emergency rescue scenario is underway. A train has derailed in the underground section. Passengers are hurt, and a fire has broken out.
Hello. Emergency.
Rapid Rail, in collaboration with MRT Corporation, have organised an emergency response drill in order to prepare for any unforeseen circumstances.
Objektif kita adalah untuk memastikan bahawa kaki tangan Rapid Rail yang mengoperasikan MRT SPK Line ini bersedia dengan sepenuhnya dari segi operasi dan dari segi kecemasan, dan juga how kita bekerjasama dengan agensi penyelamat seperti contohnya bomba, Jabatan Polis, Kementerian Kesihatan, DBKL dan lain-lain semasa berlakunya kecemasan seperti tren tergelincir atau kebakaran khasnya dalam tunnel.
The drill, which is part of an emergency response plan, is a mandatory requirement by the Land Public Transport Commission or SPAD before an operating license can be issued.
Based on kita punya pemerhatian pada hari ini, alhamdulillah semua pihak dapat bekerjasama memastikan bahawa latihan yang kita buat pada hari ini berjalan lancar, dan alhamdulillah sekarang ini ianya berjalan seperti apa yang telah kita rancangkan.
6 years ago, the Malaysian government began construction of Malaysia's largest infrastructure project, the Sungai Buloh Kajang MRT line. Through the dedication of thousands of people involved in the construction, the landscape of the Klang Valley has changed forever.
After all the 66 months of challenging and hard work, and finally we see it's a great deal.
Quite proud of it. Apart from that, I think the quality has been very good, and our safety records and our environmental records have been excellent.
I've been building railways, since I was a young boy now, and I think that this is a really good one. I think it's been a great team that has put this together, and I'm really proud.
Today, we are a step closer in making the Klang Valley a connected modern metropolis. On 17th July 2017, the second phase was officially launched by the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Datuk Seri Mohamed Najib Tun Razak, completing the Sungai Buloh Kajang line.
I was involved at the outset when we conceived the idea of having this MRT service. And today we see the launch of Line 1. And for me personally, it has brought home a feeling that you have done something very significant for the people of Malaysia. I'm so proud of the fact that this is a Malaysian project managed by Malaysians can succeed to be ahead of schedule and below budget. I think it's very rare that any country in the world could have achieved what we have done for Malaysia.
It's a real game changer, change of lifestyle. This is the way moving forward for the nation.
For many Malaysians, the completion is welcomed.
Sekarang ni start MRT dah buka, I dah naik MRT lah.
Now I was excited because MRT design now the station. Look at it. The station is actually friendly to the disabled people, especially for the OKU who is on the wheelchair.
Bagi saya lah, bahkan dengan adanya ni MRT, saya dapat kurangkan kos perbelanjaan seharian saya untuk pergi kerja.
Previously, from Kajang, it's only have one choice to go KL, which is KTM. It take about 2 hours, but since MRT open, it take about 1 hour, so I can save my sleeping times lah.
Since the nation's independence 60 years ago, Malaysia has developed into one of Asia's fastest growing nations. The KV MRT project is a game changer in making Kuala Lumpur a more livable and vibrant city.
I'm confident that given this project and the other mega projects that we are going to implement, that inshallah Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur in particular will be one of the leading cities in the world.
MRT Malaysia, exceeding expectations, changing lives for a better nation and future.